Hey everybody, welcome out to another episode of Balled Up Genetics. My name is Lloyd, and if you like reptiles, then this channel's for you. Today's episode, we're going to talk all about quarantine. So let's get going. Alright everybody, so as you know, when you bring a new reptile home, be it a snake or a lizard, brand new, especially if into a collection that you have, you want to quarantine it first. Quarantining it, you're waiting to see if there's going to be any kind of problems with it, be it infections, parasites, respiratory problems, eating problems, and you're going to want to set that reptile up in an area that's away from the rest of your collection. It may be a couple of weeks to a couple of months. It depends on your quarantine protocols. In this video, I'm going to primarily talk about snakes and setting up snakes for that, but you can take some of this and adapt it to tortoises, lizards, amphibians. But one of the main things is when you set it up in quarantine, be it if it's you know, a hatchling or an adult, there's a couple things that you're going to want to do. One is you're going to want to have it set up sterile environment. The reason for this is because if it has external parasites, you don't want that getting into any bedding decorations that you might have. So you want to set it up in a pretty sterile environment so you can keep the snake taken care of, and you can keep its environment taken care of also. So you want to have a sterile environment for it. You want to have a water source for them because you want to keep them hydrated, and you want to have a good heating source also for them. You want them in an area that they're going to feel a little secure. So depending on the species that you have, for instance, like ball pythons, they want to be in a small, tight area. So you can have them in areas that they feel comfortable in. Then the main things with your animals that you keep in quarantine is you want to, again, you want to keep them well hydrated, well heated, well ventilation in the enclosure that you have them in. They need to feel secure, and then also too, you need to start seeing if you can get food into them. So some of the things you can keep them in, like these racks behind me, you can have a whole racking system that's just for quarantine animals in a separate room, a separate building, wherever. If you just have your house, it could be in a separate room. If you have a basement, it can be down in the basement. You can put them up in these quarantine racks. That works out great. I would prefer, I would put in a racking system or really any quarantine area when I first get them in. They're just going to be on paper, like paper towel or maybe those animal pee pads that they have. Put that on there. Make sure the temperature and the humidity is set up for them. You can also have them in, you can put them in boxes like this. At a store like Walmart or Target, you can have ventilation holes put in. I would put paper towel in, their water dish. If they need a hide, I would put a hide in there. And then their heat source would be a heating pad underneath on a thermostat. And you can set this in an area away from the rest of your animals. Now, any enclosure, be it one of these, be it a racking system, and you don't have to get an expensive racking system either. I have one that I'll show you guys right here. Let me get this out of the way real quick. That I found at a local hobby store. So let me turn this camera around. So I found this at a local hobby store. It's just, it's a rack. Well, it's a drawer system for paperwork or whatever. What I did was when I put it together, I put metal flanging, thin metal sheet on each level, and I taped it so then the tops are secured with like a paper clip, and then the snakes aren't going to be able, and the snakes or the lizards that I have in here aren't going to be able to get out. It's easy to open and close, sliding down on these metal pieces right here. And as you can see, then I also wove heat tape through that goes on a thermostat. This is a real easy, cheap form of a racking system for just quarantine, and that's what I use it for. For some of my smaller species, some of my hatchlings, if I get them in from various shows or other breeders, when I get stuff in, I'll put them in this system. They have a heat source again. They have their water source. I line paper in there. So then the other thing that I do, I'm going to spray down the enclosure that they're in with some mite preventative. And there's a bunch of different ones out on the market that you can choose from. Most of those you cannot spray directly on your animal. You spray their enclosure, you wait till it dries, and then you can put that animal back in. When I get a snake in or a lizard in, the first thing I do is I give it a bath with a little bit of warm bath with a little bit of Dawn dish soap in there. I soak them first, let them get a drink of water, get hydrated, then I put the Dawn dish soap in, and then I let them soak for a while in there. It could be 20 minutes, it could be half hour. And what happens is Dawn dish soap makes it where that water will penetrate into that mite and drown that mite. So I do that, and then I have a brand of mite preventative that I spray onto a paper towel, and then I wipe the snake down with it. So I've wiped it down, I've given it a bath for mites. I have wiped it down with some mite preventative that is specifically made to go onto the animal, and then I've also sprayed down their enclosure. But again, look at the directions for the mite spray that you get, because there are some that you cannot spray directly on your animal or it will kill them. You can spray it onto their enclosure that you're putting them in, and just as long as you let it dry, then it's safe for them to go into. The first 24 hours I do not put water in with them, because I want that mite preventative to work, and I don't want them going into the water and washing it all off. So then I will give them water after 24 hours. Then I will watch them with mites. When it comes to mites, for instance, there's a life cycle from the egg to the hatching to an adult mite to reproducing eggs again. This is over a couple of weeks period. So I will, after about a week to 2 weeks, I will spray down I will wash the snake again. I will wipe them down, and I will spray their habitat again with mite preventative. Internal parasites. For me, just personally, I will give them medication for internal parasites. You can take yours to a vet and they can do that for you. I get mine from vets and I do it myself. And again, that's usually a course over several days for about up to 10 days that you'll give this to them to kill any internal parasite that they might have. Now, the majority of the animals that you guys are going to get are from captive breeding. More than likely, they're not going to have internal parasites, so you just want to treat for external parasites like mites. And guys, you can pick up mites anywhere. You can pick them up at a reptile show, a pet store. You can go to a friend's house that has reptiles, and you can pick up mites. They're going to get on your clothes, and you can transmit them to your animals. So again, you want to really take precautions when you're bringing in new animals into your area, that you want to treat them for mites, even if they don't look like they have any. And then you also want to quarantine them, because a lot of reptiles can get respiratory problems, that they can transmit that to other animals in your collection. Again, I'm going to put them in a soak with Dawn dish soap, so it will drown any mites that it might have. Then I will take a paper towel with that mite preventative that I have, and I will wipe them down from head to tail. I'll put them in that enclosure. For 24 hours, they're not going to have water, so that preventative will start working. And then I will put water back in. I will check their temperatures, their humidity, and then I will give them a couple days to calm down. And then I will try to give them their first meals. And if they're eating great, then that's just a bonus. If they're not, I will try some different tricks to get them to eat. But pretty soon they will go on to food. And then it's just a matter of how many weeks I'm going to keep them in quarantine until they go into the rest of the collection. But that's just a quick example of just setting up something for your animals to go into quarantine. Don't put them straight into your collection, because even though it could be one of the best breeders out there, you just don't know. And do you want to really take that chance with your collection, bringing in something that it can pass to them? So remember to always put your brand new animals into a quarantine situation. All right, everybody, so that's it for our video. I hope it was informative and helped you out a little bit on kind of giving you some ideas of what to do when you have a brand new reptile that you need to put through quarantine. If you can do me a favor, as always, if you haven't subscribed yet, and I know there's some of you out there that haven't, please subscribe down below. It doesn't cost you anything, but makes this channel grow even more. Also, too, if you can turn on that post notification bell, so every time we upload a video, you're going to be informed. Look us up on Morph Market. We have some bald python hatchlings and we have some tortoise hatchlings out on that page right now. So look up Balled Up Genetics on Morph Market. And as always, until the next video, take care. We'll see you again real soon. Thanks, everybody.